Sparkle Horse on William Blake, and it was truly fascinating to meet him. You can expect Blake Mania next year to mark the 250th year of his birth. Now we've got music of a different kind. Tim Minchin is a comedian, actor, composer, songwriter, pianist, musical director, and, according to his website, a rock and roll megastar. So is he set to become a comedy megastar as well? Tim Minchin impressed audiences and critics alike at the Edinburgh Festival last year, where he won the Perrier Award for Best Newcomer. An accomplished actor, composer and pianist in his native Australia, Minchin turned to stand-up in 2003 and quickly established a loyal following.
Faking an orgasm while you're coming.
He's recently moved to Britain, and his quirky blend of confessional stand-up and wry melodies laced with biting humour has seen his popularity grow.
Very innovative, very funny.
I saw him last year at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and he was a genius.
I think he's going to be the next big thing.
With influences as diverse as Tom Stoppard and Seattle grunge rockers Pearl Jam, Minchin's satirical songs exploit everything from middle-class angst and sexual anxiety to politics for comic effect. In one of the more biographical numbers, he confesses to being a rock and roll nerd.
So he sits and imagines his girlfriend is dead to try and invoke some angst in his middle-class head. But she's always fine at 9:30 when he goes to bed. And he's not spent a single night in prison. He has no issues with nutrition. He has no drinking problem and no drug addiction.
Well, I'm joined by Tim now. Rock and roll nerd, Tim. Is that really kind of how you see yourself?
I think I must have some deep-seated desire to be more rock than I am. But really, I'm just mocking all of us middle-class artists who are, looking for angst to up their artistic credibility a bit.
You've got a show in the West End at the moment, which you're going to take on the road in the new year, all around the UK. It's kind of semi-autobiographical, isn't it, this show?
It's a combination of the last 2 years of shows I've done in Edinburgh, and it's so some of the material's quite old and more my origins, and some of the stuff's the more recent stuff, which is a bit darker and a little bit more about thoughts rather than about me. And and it's on. I'm doing Sunday nights on the West End, which is just amazing for me. From the end of January till mid-March, I'm doing I think about 25 or 30 dates around the UK.
So the song that you're going to play us out with tonight is your song Dark Side. Is the unrock theme in this too? Yeah,
this is Dark Side actually is quite an old song, and I wrote it basically centering on that idea that I don't have a big enough well of darkness to draw from to write really good rock songs, and talks about how I had a relationship that broke up that I always think was because I wasn't kind of deep enough for this chick. I think she wanted, I always use the word chick, that's very Australian, deep enough for this girl because I think she wanted a poet, and wanted to get into some proper self-indulgent suffering. Yeah, and it's about, as a relatively well-adjusted person, how hard you have to, the straws you have to clutch at to try and find some darkness in yourself. So it ends with a lament about my dad not coming to my ball games, which he did. He coached them, but
We shall look forward to that, Tim. Thanks ever so much for coming in.
Absolute pleasure.
Just before we hear from Tim Minchin, we've just time to see what's coming up on next week's programme. Why people are mortgaging their houses to buy designer handbags. And we have a world exclusive, the first ever animated pod tune created by the gods of podcasting, Carl Pilkington, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant.
And mammoths are taking up quite a bit of room if a load of them come back. We've already got elephants, which in my eyes are good enough. They do, they carry stuff about.
So now, to play us out, here is the tortured genius of Tim Minchin. Good night.
This is a song called Dark Side, and I'll see you at the other end. I can have a dark side if you want me to. I can have a dark side too. Called my girlfriend up on the phone. I said, hey, good girlfriend, what's good going wrong? She said, I'm breaking it off with you. I feel as if the mama magic has gone. I said, hey baby, what you talking about? I thought that everything was just fine. She said, that's exactly the point. I just get so annoyed how you're so happy all the time. I need somebody deeper than you. Someone with a little third dimension. I said, well, I can have a dark side if you want me to. I can have a dark side too. I can have a dark side. I can have a dark side. I can have a dark side. Wow! I wrote a letter to Mr. Sony. Said Sony, what's going down? I got a record and I reckon it's wicked, and I think you should spread it around. Mr. Sony said, hey Tim, I quite like your work. He said it's clever and quirky, but I promise you this, you could be clever as Voltaire, but it won't get you nowhere if you want to sell discs. Clever never made no one rich. It doesn't appeal to the teenage market. The teenage market.
Very much.
Is that it?